Hello guys, be here with La La Land Crafts, and today we're gonna be making a rainbow card, super easy. And for this we're gonna be using Candy Shoppe Marci. We're also going to be using the large banner die, the canopy die, the bold letters die, and the sweet stencil set. The first thing we're going to do is create a background with one of the sweets stencil set. This cardstock measures 5.5 by 5.5 inches. But do not worry, as you can check in the description box below for all the details. So now I'm just going to go ahead and align my stencil. That way it fits perfectly on my cardstock. And when I have stencils like this one, or the size of my card, that I really cannot add my magnets to the side because it's kind of on and they get in the way of my blending. So what I do is just add a little bit of masking tape, or in this case I use a lot of washi tape, so that's what I'm adding to the sides so my stencil doesn't move and I can create a really nice background. For our background, since we are creating a rainbow scene, I am using Distress inks or Distress Oxide for my background. And here I'm showing you the ones that I'm using. It's Picked Raspberry, Carved Pumpkin, Squeezed Lemonade, Twisted Citron, Salvaged Patina, and Wilted Violet. So from one corner to the other, I am gonna start with my Picked Raspberry and go all the way to the Wilted Violet, and you'll see that I go back and forth between colors, and this is so I can get a really nice blending between the colors. And here, as I was removing my washi tape, I noticed that it was ripping my cardstock, and I didn't want that to happen. I tried with the second one and it ripped it again. It happens when you apply too much pressure to it. And so for the other two pieces, I decided that I was just gonna cut the excess because this part is gonna be glue to my card base, so nobody really is going to see this, so I didn't mind leaving the washi tape on the back. And after removing my washi, this is how my background looks like. Now for this part, surprise, we're gonna create a shaker part, but we are not going to open that shape, my banner shape. We're not gonna do it in the middle of this cardstock that we just created. We're gonna set that aside. So here with the largest banner die, I cut my piece, and now I am going to cut the inside to make the frame of my shaker part, the card. And for that I'm gonna use the smallest banner die from that set, and because I'm using my Gemini, I have to do it this way because my die has to be first on the magnetic sheet, and I want to make sure that this is aligned well and that it's gonna look nice. So for that I'm also using washi tape, making sure that my die stays in place. After running through my machine, I was left with the border piece that we created with the two dies and that middle part that comes out of your die. And that middle part, we're gonna create a rainbow background, kind of like the same we did with the candy stencil, but this time we're not gonna be using the stencil. So all that we're gonna do is use the same inks and start creating our background as I show you now. Notice that between colors I go back and forth between the two colors that I'm using. This way I create a better, smoother blend. Now for this background, I wanted to add a little extra something, so I'm gonna use my Distress Spray Stain. This is the Tarnished Brass, and all I do is with the same nozzle, I just flicker around my page where I want it. And I decided to change my color from white to gold because look what happened here. Oh my goodness, you guys, I spilled half a bottle of my spray. So after I cleaned that mess, I cut with the canopy dye from white cardstock and the gold glittery cardstock that we will be using for our frame as well. So I just cut some of the middle pieces out and I intercalated between the white and the gold for our canopy. And here are my gold pieces that I decided to cut instead of the white. My original thought was the white, but you saw what happened. I changed my mind. So now we're gonna put our whole card together and then we're gonna color Marci. What I have here is my card base. It measures 11.5 by 5 3/4, and you're just gonna fold it in half for your card base. To glue my mat to my card base, I am using wet glue, and you'll notice that I am using quite a bit of glue, and this is because my card base, that glitter cardstock, is not smooth. It's actually really textured. You can feel the glitter, so I am using a lot of glue and holding it down so it actually sticks to my card base. Now gluing the background of my shaker piece, you can do it also tilted like I show you there, but I'm just gonna do it straight as is. And for this I'm also using my wet glue. When that background part is glued, we are gonna set that aside and work on our window. And for this part I'm using a double-sided tape. I realized that I ran out of my 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape, or scoring tape, so I'm just gonna use my 1/4 inch and just cut the excess like you see me doing here, and then I'm just gonna remove the backing and add it to my acetate sheet and cut around it. Once I have adhered my acetate, I'm just going to use my foam tape for the shaker window part. Now that my window is ready, I am going to use this shaker confetti mix that I had in my stash. I'm just gonna add some to the middle, and I wish I would have added more. You'll see why at the end. I feel like if I would have added more shaker pieces, it would have looked a lot better, but I still like how it turned out. And here's how it looks. I think I underestimated the size of my shaker. And here I'm just adding that scallop part to the bottom of my banner piece or shaker part of the card. Now adding the canopy as well. Now let's work on Marci. For this, I'm gonna use my Misty and Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Now Marci is ready to be colored. Make sure that you check in the top corner right there where I'm showing you, because that's where I tell you which marker I am using. After I'm done coloring her, I'm just fuzzy cutting around her, and it's time to put all the card together. So now I use the bold letters die and I cut the word sweet with matching cardstock, and we're gonna go ahead and add these to our card. And you can see here that I am positioned here where I want her to be, but I also notice that I need to use some foam tape on one of her sides so she can be supported by the foam tape and not sink when I'm shipping her. And for the word sweet, I am adding some dimensionals to some of the letters, and the others I'm just adding glue. And this is how my card looks like. I added some of the stars from the Sequin mix, and I think it looks so cute. It's a very simple card, very easy to make. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.